You're watching this video because you want to be a better leader. You want an advantage over other people watching regular leadership content. I feel a separation with that regular leadership content too. I feel a dissonance and a disillusionment in how it is applicable to my life, where I am a young professional in an organization covered by outdated systems. I love Brené Brown and Simon Sinek. They make me feel empowered and like I have agency within my life. When I walk away from them, those videos, I'm not sure what practical skills I have to make better business decisions within the lived reality of what organizational life is like, as well as look out for my own personal interests within an organizational context. I'm going to delve into leadership nuggets over the next few weeks that give us the practical tips and skills that we need as leaders, whether it's people leader, project leader, or a leader in our mindset, to actually navigate the organizational context, the corporate life that we exist in this modern society that is complex, uncertain, and constantly changing. Everything in this video is time-stamped, so if you want to skip to that leadership nugget of today, then do that now. But if you are enjoying my content, then give it a like, and if you are liking me, then please subscribe. By liking my content, I know more of what content to create, what adds value in your life. Unfortunately, I cannot change myself, so if you don't like me, then... So what's my issue with these thought leaders content? They are the golden people of the space. They are accessible. They are well articulated. They are knowledgeable, experienced. They've been in organizations. They understand the literature and the theory. I am not faulting them at all. I am inspired by them and I have so much to learn from them. But they are speaking to a type of audience. They are using very high level thinking, taking the theory, and maybe through their experience, they have practically implemented it within organizations. But it is a certain type of organization. It's an organization that wants to change, that is willing to put a ton of money to make that change. So they're already valuing something within the work that these thought leaders have. And those thought leaders also only choose organizations of a certain type. And we know that there are a ton of different organizations out there in a ton of different stages who value so many different leadership styles. So while this content speaks about how to choose good organizations, what it means to be psychologically safe and to be trusting and how to develop that, also how we as individuals can move through difficult things and integrate our lives with our work, it does not speak to the practical realities of Gen Z and Gen Alpha showing up within the workplace, as well as millennials who are now arcing in their careers, are disillusioned with the workplace from the incentive structure, from the outdated systems, from the politics of it, navigating these things, as well as sometimes what I see across organizations, the questionably ethical side of things. And of course, leadership is an ambiguous term. It means so many different things from different cultural contexts, different organizational contexts, and the models that organizational psychology have developed, there are a ton of them, and applying them into these different contexts, they show up practically very differently across spaces. So my thinking is that I will take the things that we know from this content produced by these brilliant thought leaders and translate it in how we as individuals can guide our organizations in that direction with the agency we have in that space. So this is just another facet to the same kind of globe of things. It also has a bit more of a personal delivery system. Of course, I try and respond and engage with every person that reaches out to me. So please do that in the comment down below if you want me to unpack a specific topic for you. This won't be for most people, but it will be for the people watching. So the first nugget, one huge error I see people making, leader or not, is only thinking about the immediate consequences of an action or a decision. This is a first order type of thinking. Leaders rarely need to consider the second and the third order of their decisions and their actions if they are going to be excellent. What does this mean in its most basic form? A decision or an action that we have has consequences. It has ripples into the system. People who are good at decision making don't only think about taking the action and what that might fulfill, but they also think about what happens if that thing is fulfilled. What happens next? How might someone react to that thing? How might the person who reacts to that thing have people in their surroundings that then react to that thing? And so on and so on and so on. Another facet of this is that a decision you might think is good could have some bad consequences. And a decision you might think is bad could have some very good consequences. So if you only think about the immediate, you're missing out on a lot of potential upside. What does this look like in a personal example from myself? At one point, I had just received a job offer from a team that I had really wanted to join. It had been a long process and the people in the team had known I wanted to join for a long time, but it was uncertain because of headcount. My manager was excited to share the news and announced it within a team meeting, including the title and so the level at which I would join within the organization. Of course, everybody was happy, we were excited, celebrating, and then my manager decided to share another piece of news. A different colleague had just gotten a promotion to the same level at which I was joining the team in. So a good decision on paper. Let's share all the good news at once. Let's all be excited for each other. But the second and the third order consequences were quite bad. For me personally, the moment went from one of celebration and collective relief to one of competition. I am a competitive person. I'm a sportswoman. Everybody knows this about me. And of course, if you peg me against somebody else, immediately my brain is going to switch on and I'm going to start thinking in that pattern. It also made me feel like my manager didn't really value me. You get a thing and you get a thing and you get a thing. Everybody gets a thing. And in that moment, I felt like, why did I even choose this team? Maybe I would have been more valued somewhere else. Thinking from an organizational perspective, that was a missed opportunity. In these moments, an organization has the opportunity, and the manager or the leader is the proxy, to foster a sense of recognition, to celebrate, to create a sense of safety and belonging. But no, that was flipped on its head. So the manager could have used some reasoning that people should be more mature, blah, 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 blah. That wasn't my intention at all. But that is the critical moment when you need to be thinking about the second and the third order of your actions. The third order, other than me feeling really terrible in the moment, was that I had lower trust for my manager. I was much less engaged within my work. I felt like anything I did wouldn't be recognized anyway, so what was the point? Many, many months of me grappling with what I actually want from this job. Whereas before, I was super excited to join this team. I was really engaged with everyone. I felt a sense of respect and belonging with people. I had to work on my internal self. I had to shift my mindset from competition to something else. And so that was a ton of energy I had to expend on that piece rather than doing a great job at what I had just been hired for. My mental focus was split, which was then a cost for the company. I was not as effective and productive within my work. You may have noticed I refer to a manager in this position, not a leader. This is one critical difference between what a manager is and what a leader is, for me at least. When you are thinking about the second and third order consequences of your actions, you shift from being a manager, somebody who is balancing a situation, whereas a leader is one who is actively guiding the situation. They are taking decisions to ensure the best outcome for their people, including the dynamics of a team, weighing different types of dispositions, and then making decisions in the context of, this is how I think they might react, this is what is best for them, this is the best for the team. So as we see here, it's an example of psychological safety being broken and trust not being built. And by using a mental model such as first versus second order thinking, we can begin to hit on these things that thought leaders like Simon Sinek and Brené Brown speak about all the time, but in the practical day-to-day of our work, of our lives. So stick with me for some more practical tools in this line of thinking. I will see you then.